Good day, eh? So for today, in most of the western part of the United States of America, and that's where most of my people are, it is just hot. We're getting into hot, hot temperatures. So we're going to do a little breath work and then just a short seated meditation. And I'm going to try to make it about that 10 to 12 minutes. So hopefully it's accessible to folks, even if they feel like they're busy. And the breath is going to be a cooling technique. Now, you can roll your tongue or you can't. That's based on a gene that you have. You're not better or worse, etc. Right? But if you can roll your tongue, you'll roll your tongue. And when you inhale, you'll bring the air in past that tongue or through that tongue, right? And this is going to be a cooling effect as we bring the cooler air from the outside in past, and you'll feel it against the tongue. If that's not available to you, that's okay, not a big deal. You're going to have your lips and your teeth parted slightly. You'll bring your tongue out to the back of the teeth, and you'll bring the air in around that. So it's a really loose connection so the air can still come into the mouth. Right. So again, either I bring my tongue up to the back of my teeth and I just kind of fill that out and suck the air in past that, or I have my tongue roll and I suck the air in. Yeah. And then when we exhale, it's our regular exhale. So this is still all soft belly breath, wave breath, that general bright breathing technique. And then this is layered on top of that. So that's the brief description. And I wanted you to have your eyes open just in case it helps you to see what I'm doing with my mouth. But then I'm going to ask that you close your eyes when we move into the breathing technique, right? So find that erect posture, that long spine. I'm trying not to use the word erect as much because I feel like that really elicits this like imagining of a very rigid kind of structure, right? So just a nice long spine with a certain softness around it. Closing those eyes. And just start to sense whether or not you're holding tension in the body. So we're still going to do that body scan. There's a few techniques we'll still go to, and then we'll go into that breath. So release the forehead and the eyebrows and the muscles around the eyes, and not just releasing, right? But also noticing any sensations, the tongue and the jaw, the throat, the neck, the shoulders, arms, elbows, lower arms, wrists, hands, and fingers. Bringing the awareness into the chest and the upper back, through that middle rib cage area, the belly, the low back, the hips, and softening and noticing the lower legs, the knees, the lower legs, the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, the ankles, the feet, and the toes. And so keeping that body soft, keeping that body as still as you can. Bring your awareness into the breath and just start to cultivate that soft belly breath. And that is, of course, that when you inhale, the belly moves away from the spine. And when you exhale, the belly moves back towards the spine. You're not trying to push the belly or make the breath happen. You're just noticing and allowing that to be a little deeper than where you're not paying attention. And then let's go ahead and let's exhale. So we're in the same place. We're going to go into the Sheetali breath. And either roll your tongue or tongue behind the teeth. Inhale through the mouth. Close the mouth and you'll exhale out of your nose. Inhale through the mouth. Close the mouth and exhale out of the nose. We'll do it one more time together and then we're going to take our own pace. Inhale through the mouth with either the tongue roll or the teeth up to the back of the tongue to the back of the teeth. Sip in that air, close the mouth, and exhale out of the nose. So that's the pattern. So now just go ahead and find your rhythm, your natural breath. You're not trying to force it to be long or deep, just whatever feels right for you. Especially when we're talking about cooling the body, we don't want to do things that stress us, right? One of the effects of accumulating heat is irritability, frustration, anger, right? So, adding stress to that mixture, right, is not the best combination necessarily. And we're going to do this for about 5 more breaths. Keeping the jaw and the shoulders soft, the psoas and the belly soft. And just feeling that cooling breath, really focusing on the cooling effect as you inhale past the tongue. And then when you feel complete with that, you're just going to keep the mouth closed, and all breathing will now happen through the nose. And that soft belly breath will be wonderful here. And so, in research and studies, they have found this technique of yoga and Ayurveda to actually help drop the body temperature. And that is imagining, visualizing yourself in a cooler place. So I'm going to go with water because, as most all y'all know, water is one of my happy places. If it's not for you, feel free to do another visualization. Imagine yourself in a cool cave or wherever it is that suits you. But if you're willing to go with me, I'd love you to imagine, if you will, that you're standing at the shore of a nice, cool lake. And as you walk out and put your feet into that lake, already your body temperature begins to cool. And then maybe walk out a little further until you have your shins, maybe up to the knees. And again, just imagine your temperature as it would change as you walk out into that cool water. Cool, that's your discretion. What's cool to you? And walking out, and the thighs start to get into that water. And this is really safe lake water, right? And it's as shallow as you need it to be, and as deep as you need it to be. Again, you can individualize for yourself. And I don't know about all y'all, but when I'm walking out into water and it starts to move up towards my crotch, it starts to get awfully chilly. So maybe even imagining that, so you feel your body temperature begin to drop. And if you just want to stay in that waiting area, right? WAD, waiting. Please just stay here and just continue to wade in the water, or maybe you sit down in a shallow part where it comes up to your waist or what have you. For my friends who like to move into a little deeper, you can either imagine yourself continuing to walk out in that water, coming up to your abdomen, right, and rising up the body. If you're someone who dives in or jumps in when it gets deep enough, you can jump into the water all the way over your head. If you want to have on a life vest, so that you can lay back and just lay in the water with that life vest supporting you, floating. Or maybe you just lay back in the water without a life vest and you are just floating in that cool water. And just take your time with that. And again, I really do encourage you to individualize it to yours. Just because I say one thing, you can have your visualization go a slightly different way that's more appropriate for your body, your mind, your heart mind today. But literally just imagining that you are in that cool water and that your body temperature has now dropped to a comfortable level. Again, whatever that is for you. We all have different constitutions. And if you're floating on your back, that water surrounding you. And then while we're here, not just feeling the temperature of the water, but also that weightlessness that water provides, where we get a little bit of freedom from gravity. And that idea of going with the flow. Right? We're in the lake, so there's not necessarily a current, but there's still usually just little baby movements of the weightlessness of the body in the water. And I often conjure up the image of sea kelp. If you were sea kelp and you were just floating in that water. And then for any of my friends who are floating in the water, well, I'll put out there, if you want to keep doing the meditation, you don't have to come out of this visualization. But if you're on a time limit, we're going to let ourselves come to an upright posture, and we'll start to move towards the water where we can touch the bottom. And we'll start to slowly walk into the shore. My friends who are in the shallower water waiting, or maybe sitting down in the water in a beach chair. And when you're ready, you can stand up and start to wade back in towards the shore. And then when we're at the shore, so we don't get too hot, let's imagine that we go to a shady spot and we sit down on a towel, on the sand, whatever your beach is made of. And just here we are in that beautiful upright posture one more time. Hopefully our bodies, our minds just a little cooler than when we began. Let's go ahead and bring our hands together in front of our chest, and you can do that in actual reality or just in your visualization. Take an inhale. And with an exhale, bow your head in. And, I put out there my own experience, not because I think you should have the same one, but so that, you're not alone, or you just get kind of input, right? Instead of me just kind of preaching to you. But I have a very hot constitution. I'm pitta, I'm fire, a lot of fire. And so when this heat comes, I deal a lot with irritability and frustration and anger and skin rashes and not digesting well and food well, etc. So all these different kinds of things. So for me, doing these cooling practices has been I don't know about a lifesaver, but that might be an exaggeration, but boy, oh boy, has it made a world of difference. So if you have that as well, may you experience a little freedom from the accumulation of heat. And remember, you can do this kind of stuff anytime. You don't need me to guide you through all the time. Namaste, friends. May you stay cool. May you be well. And may all beings everywhere be well. Namaste.